Well, welcome boys. Today I'm doing a vid going through some of the scariest shit that I've ever seen when I was a little baby bitch. Because recently I've come to appreciate what a lot of the old days had to offer in terms of spooky content. Going from like creepypastas and scary faces and stuff like that, because as I've come to realise, they were all made by a person, or maybe a multitude of people, with the sole purpose of scaring whoever saw it. And I can respect that. Because sometimes it can take a certain degree of skill to be able to come up with something, or devise something that does evoke such a strong reaction in an audience. Even if the audience is 8-year-old me, using the internet on the iMac. So how about we jump into a couple of memories from that era, a little me discovering the internet or other spooky things that computers had to offer. Because in a way, it's the computers that really scared me. So let's have a look. Now I've been using computers for a long time. The first computer we've had since I was born, really. And when we did have dial-up internet for a very short amount of my very early childhood, I played a couple browser games. I played a couple like Blue's Clues mini game on the internet, and maybe a bit of like Bejeweled and stuff, whatever the equivalent was at that time. And it wasn't until my dear father picked up a game pack from Harvey Norman called Unreal, and it came with Unreal Tournament, which was obviously the best. You run around and shoot people. And the other one was the adventure game that came out before that, just called Unreal, where you had to escape an alien planet from the aliens. And it was very, very spooky. You had to go through temples, avoid monsters and stuff, and you would oftentimes just get jumped at by an alien around the corner. And today, of course, is one of my most favourite games of all time. It was so much fun to play and replay, and gives me a lot of inspiration for stuff like Teddy Town, which uses the soundtrack as well. But at some point we moved away from Adelaide and eventually bought a new computer, a all-in-one Mac, and we put the old computer out in the shed. This kind of was the start of my irrational fear of what a computer might be capable of. Because whenever I wanted to play Unreal Tournament, or even dare to play Unreal out in the shed on my own, typically at night time, I'd have to go in, turn the computer on, play my game, and then by the time it was night and I had to go back, I had to turn the shed light off and the computer off, and then go back inside by myself. To me, just the sound of the computer turning off was just unnerving in some undescribable way. Not to mention that, you have to turn everything off, everything goes silent, and you're in the dark. Another thing about this specific computer is that it was old, buggy, and like any game I'd try to run that wasn't for like the Windows XP, or like a higher version of Windows, would typically just make the game crash, or the whole computer crash. It would just turn off. Blue screen, not even blue screen most of the time, just go silent. That I could deal with. At a young age, it was still very unnerving, but it was nothing out of the ordinary, so I just went along with it. Eventually, that computer was we threw it away. It wasn't any use to us. We had a new computer, and we got ourselves our internet connection. And this is when I truly had a distrust for computers. Now, my mum has always been a huge believer in ghosts and ghost stories. She used to work at a hospital, cleaning and stuff, trying to work her way up to become a nurse one day. And she would hear plenty of stories, and come up with some herself, of just times in the hospital at night time when she's cleaning, and her co-workers would report weird happenings and stuff like that. And I don't personally believe it, but nonetheless, this kind of drew her to seek out ghost stories. And where's the perfect place to find ghost stories? YouTube in 2009, baby. And this fucked me, because not only would we watch YouTube videos together with ghost sightings and stuff that were like obviously fake, but like she believed it and therefore I believed it. And then we also fell victim to a lot of the classic videos like ghost sighting must watch car ad. Classic. And I'm already kind of unnerved by computers crashing and stuff in the past. How am I supposed to feel when I have the hunch that any video I could be watching could just turn into a jump scare video? And from all the other ghost videos I've watched I'd always be scared of shit like mirrors. I could never, like in my own house at night, I couldn't stand in front of a mirror because we saw plenty of videos where stuff in the reflection would just be off or be scary or turn into a jump scare. And then I start walking around my own house thinking I could be getting jump scared at any moment. It was just fucked. And that was the start of a certain era where YouTube was just a living nightmare. I wanted to watch my favourite videos, like stick figures on crack. Everywhere I turned, I would see scary shit. One particular figure that sticks out to me is a man by the name of Dan Bow, the creator of Annoying Orange. So in that kind of time frame, Annoying Orange was blowing up, and as a result, Dan Bow's channel was blowing up, as if it hadn't blown up enough already. His channel was fucking skyrocketing, and after watching some of the Annoying Orange videos, all of his other videos were recommended to me. And he was notorious for creating excellent, at the time, After Effects videos that nobody really had the skills to do in that time. And with those skills, he made videos such as Scary Faces 2, and Scary Faces the Remix Extravaganza 3. And the videos themselves weren't scary, and I only realised this after watching them like 10 odd years later. They're just funny skits videos where people try to make each other scared with their faces using After Effects effects. All I was scared of then was the thumbnail images. These three. Maybe not that one, but like these two in particular, which just pop up in my recommended, scare the shit out of me because they are just so objectively freaky to an 8-year-old or 9-year-old me. Gave me nightmares. Fuck you, Dan Bow. Fuck off. And this was around the time where Scary Face Maze game was also extremely popular. So keep getting recommended that shit. I could not go anywhere on the internet, aka only youtube.com. Every corner I go, there'd be shit that'd freak me out, and I could not avoid it. Another honourable mention goes to Photoshop compilations of funny Photoshop, where this particular image was always featured, and this would give me nightmares too, for whatever reason. This combination of facial features would fuck my mind. Here's a classic that came quite a while later. A popular costume by the name of Mean Bunny on the internet would be used for pranks, and just holy fucking shit, this costume, or like a person in the costume, would actually appear in my dreams. And from what I can remember, that pretty much sums up the just early YouTube part of my Being Scared Shitless compilation. But that sure isn't the end of computers specifically fucking with me psychologically, as I will go into in this next section. As the new decade rolled around, a lot of bandwagons were created, namely around horror games, and the idea that games can be haunted, especially through creepypastas, and that got me very interested. I was old enough to find the idea intriguing, but not old enough to not also be kept up at night by the scary shit that I'd been exposed to. The one genre of games that really kind of played on my fear of computers not being trusted are EXE games. The first one starting the bagwagon, of course, being Sonic.exe, where you'll just download this exe file. It was just like a glitchy, spazzy version of the original Sonic game, with like corrupted audio, screamers, jump scares, blood everywhere, and you know, that perfectly played on my fear of not trusting a computer, because it just glitches out, and you go down the thing, shit doesn't work, you can't exit the thing. Not being able to exit a program was also really freaky at that time. Like, I'd have dreams where I was locked into the Scary Face Maze game and I could not exit the tab. And plenty other games with the EXE gimmick were made of like other franchises and stuff, like Pokemon. Like with, I think this one's called Alone.exe, and I'd watch other people play them at like 1% volume and still be scared shitless of just the idea. And then you just have the plain old stories of creepypastas, like most notoriously Jeff the Killer, which this image would always like appear and like fuck this HD original shit, but like this one would just appear everywhere and freak the ever-living shit out of me. And then of course you've got gaming stories like Lavender Town, and where like the game was glitched and made people kill themselves while they played it. Like Tails Doll and Ben Drowned. Ooh, spooky.
Oh, scary! Oh, shiver my timbus! Shut up, man!
Oh my god, I actually had Sonic Racing. I remember I used to play that all the time and it'd always crash and have to start again. And I mean, I did get as far as to unlock something like Tails Doll, but I still was a pain in the ass. I didn't believe those ones, but like that idea was just so much more feasible to me than Mum's hospital ghost stories, you know? But do you know which one I did believe? Like wholeheartedly for a while? Herobrine. Fucking Minecraft Ghost was scary. Minecraft became awesome. In 2011, the full release came out, I got it, I played it, and it was so much fun. And I still play to this day. But when I learned that there's a ghost in the game, it just goes back to me playing Unreal Tournament in the shed at night. I'm in the back room, it's night time, parents are asleep, I'm playing Minecraft on a Friday night, and what do I hear? Nah, fuck that. I'm not playing the game. I'll just quit the game, go do something else, watch the TV or some shit, or play the Xbox because I was not fucking with that. I did not have a big enough trust in the game that I wouldn't just turn around and see this fucking thing staring right back at me. And just look at this low render distance, like beta Minecraft. Is this not fucking worse than being here? Or here? Or here? And of course, later on you had like more legitimate horror games that people would make legends out of, like Slender Man, and you remember that when Vanos Gaming played Gmod horror maps and it was just like corridors with a jump scare at the end with this same fucking image in every one of them. And then Five Nights at Freddy's, of course, was a big one. And that was just kind of the time when I grew out of it. I started seeing scary things less as genuinely horrifying and more of just something that people have created, and I've learned to appreciate it. But not only can I appreciate the visuals that have just come out over the years, but there's so many good sounds. I think that rather than having a loud noise, a scary noise are just so more enjoyable to listen to. Something that just could genuinely unsettle somebody just by listening to it. So here are a few that I love. That last one I reckon is fucking awesome. Just by looking at a video, it's just like, oh fucking Christ. And you add these sounds to scary shit, and it's fucking awesome. Today, I just love going through things that genuinely scare me without having to just go, "Rrr." But as I grow older, there's surely a bunch of kids going through the exact same thing that I did. And going through dank meme compilation on Instagram or on YouTube and then finding stuff that disturbs them. And there's so much cool stuff that's happened in the recent years. Like we've got Momo and Spooky Siren. The works of Trevor Henderson with his siren head and long horse. And then people putting together compilations of his works while putting scary music behind it. There's this one video where they put these images to scary video game music, and I've just got a massive grin on my face the entire time watching them. Just look at these. I love them so much. There was also like a really small period where there was a genre of memes called void memes, where you just take funny overused clip and then just distort it and make it as demonically possessed as possible. And it didn't really take off because most of them are just jump scares, right? And a lot of them like use this high pitched sounds that actually fucking hurt your ears, and it just wasn't funny anymore. Like here's one of my favorite ones. I've turned down the volume like a shitload, and I'm also putting a countdown for when it happens so you can watch it enjoyably. Alright, yeah, I'll show two of them. One is an example and the other one's my favorite.
Ah! When your mom makes you do your homework instead of game, like you're supposed to be doing.
No. That one's gold. The reason I wanted to make a video of this is because, one, I've always had an urge to also create something scary myself. So you can expect a Teddy Town episode one day that'll be spooky, and I'll make sure it's as spooky as possible without having to distort the volume or whatever. And at the same time, we've had a brand new, within 2 weeks ago, some guy on Reddit uploaded this picture of some guy put a pig statue, like a prehistoric predatory pig. Future lamer here, I just did some research and it's actually a Photoshop of this very image of this statue at a museum of a creature called Dinohyus or Dinohyus. Yeah, predatory pig. Well, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of have a bit of a semi-story time where I talk about scary things and showcase some scary stuff on the internet. And before I go, just remember, it's all made by some fucker like me behind a computer. And there's nothing to be scared of, unless it's the fear that you'll never be good enough, or that your loved ones will eventually disappear. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good sleep.
Oh, shiver my timbers! Shut up, man! Go back on your old ways then! Don't let me jump back on this road! What do you mean your old ways? Go and do it now!